Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to 66 Conversations with MAPS Coaches. This morning, I'm joined by MAPS Coach Crystal Lawson. Crystal, thanks for being a part of this challenge and for being here today. Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone, let them know who you are.
You are so welcome, Marty. Thank you for having me. I am Crystal Lawson. I am a MAPS leadership coach focusing on coaching MCAs. And I've been a MAPS coach for about 5 years now, going on 6 years. I've been with Keller Williams for 19 years. So I take all of that experience and bring it to my clients.
Absolutely. I love it. I think the conversation we're having today, you probably deal with, especially with the MCA role. This can come from an agent point of view perspective and a leadership point of view perspective. And it really comes down to sort of the excuse of, I don't have enough time, Crystal. I just don't have enough time to lead generate or make my recruiting calls or engage with my top 20%. What are you doing when one of your clients or someone that you work with says, Crystal, I just don't have enough time?
Well, Marty, that's a great question. So the first thing I do is listen, right? Because I want to hear opportunities for me to take what they're saying to me and try to help them reframe that,
Sure.
right? So when I hear that I don't have enough time, obviously we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right?
Sure.
Do you have more than
I
24? Because
wish
if
some
you
days,
do,
but
can I
no.
get some?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And so really it comes down to a matter of what we're doing with that time. Right. So oftentimes with an MCA, for example, I'll have them do a time study, right? Write down, let's do a 1 to 3 day time study where every 15 minutes, and you've probably heard this before, you write down what you're doing, right? Let's get clear on where your time is going, because we can agree that not enough time is not really the real reason, right?
Sure.
So once we get clear on what you're doing with that time, right? Usually by the time the client gets through with the time study, they're like, you know what? I found about 4 or 5 hours that I can use to devote to XYZ, whatever it is, right? And then it's just a matter of reframing and working on that schedule, right? So if you are, for example, an MCA, for example, may need to manage the GOTA minutes, right?
Sure.
So then we work on creating a schedule where you build in the GOTA minutes in such a way that the agent doesn't feel like you are putting them off until later, right? They still feel like they're being respected and taken care of, right? And yet you're still able to get the things done that you need to get done.
I love it.
So it's just a matter of, let's get clear on where our time is going and then redirect that time to the places that we need for it to be.
And I imagine too, sometimes when you have them go through that exercise of the time study, the hours that they find, they don't even all have to be devoted back to work, right? Like if you're an agent and you did that time study and you realize, hey, you know what? If I would just get off of Facebook and wake up 30 minutes earlier and not take that, 45-minute shower or whatever it is, right?
Right.
That's time that I can devote back to work, lead generation, lead follow-up, setting appointments, et cetera. But also time that I can devote to my big why, right? Whether that's my hobbies, my family, whatever it may be, travel. I can see that being a very powerful exercise that you work with your clients on. And I think that's probably one we should all take a little time every now and then to do, because
Absolutely.
who knows what you're going to find and where you put it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things that I've experienced my clients finding is, especially when they say, oh, I don't have enough time, so I have to work late, right? After doing that time study, they discover, oh, I don't need to work late. I can work from, 8 to 5 or 8 to 4:30 or 7 to 3, whatever that is. I can
Sure.
go home, and that extra time that I've found or created for myself can be devoted to my big why. It can be devoted to spending time with my family, to picking my kids up from school, to having dinner at home, whatever that might be. So that's been a great eye opener. And from time to time, even as a coach, I have to do that for myself, right?
Sure.
Because we're all human. We all fall into I'm so busy, I don't have enough time. And so what I recommend is just make it a practice once a quarter, at least, or more often if you find yourself saying that. And we can be clear, we can be transparent here, right? We both said it. I
Oh,
don't have enough
absolutely.
time,
100%.
right? I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other. And so it's a good practice to just check in on how you're spending your time
Yeah.
every day.
I'll be real transparent with you. I stare at the Peloton from my desk every day and just say, I don't have time to ride it. Crystal, I think I need to do a time exercise and go in there. And I think you made a very purposeful delineation there. You didn't necessarily find the time. It wasn't like all of a sudden you now get 26 hours because you did the study.
Right.
You created the time because you were very purposeful about what you were spending time on, and then said, you know what, I can be more intentional and can create time for those exercises, or in my case, the exercise that you want to be doing that you're not doing. So that's a fantastic point. Yeah.
So Marty, I'm looking forward to hearing that you created some time to get on that Peloton.
That's why you hire a MAPS coach. Look at that, right? Immediate accountability. I love it. Anything in closing thoughts that you would share with agents or leaders who are struggling to find the right amount of time?
Well, in closing thoughts, just don't be afraid to do the exercise, right? In reality, we all know that we're wasting time or using time less productively than we should be, right? And writing it down, taking the time to do that study is just going to illuminate that for us. It's going to bring us face to face with the reality that I'm not being as purposeful as I could be. And so don't be afraid to do the study. If you need some help, just reach out to me. I'm happy to walk you through it, coach you through it, right? And I'm confident you'll thank me later.
Absolutely. I love that you're coming from contribution in that offer. And I hope that many of our leaders and agents reach out and say, Crystal, next thing you'll be teaching a class, right? Worldwide, telling everyone how to do the study and really get that time back. A great idea.
I love
right?
the thought.
Guys, appreciate you joining us today, Crystal. Guys,
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in. As always, tomorrow we'll have a new MAPS coach and a new conversation. Come back then. And until then, we'll see you again real soon.
Thanks.